Well, welcome everyone to today's conversation about smart practices in diversity, equity, and inclusion in our series of video interviews called Smart Inclusion. As SmartSearch has been working on our technology platform to support diversity in recruiting, we've been talking with industry advocates, thought leaders, our clients, and vendor partners about the trends, challenges, and solutions for employers on how to create a more diverse and inclusive workspace. It's my pleasure to welcome our guests today. We have Shelly Orr Priebe, who is a principal at I3 Consulting. She's an advisor, coach, team builder, and celebrant of diversity. And we are going to talk about coaching that makes a difference. And when Shelly and I first met, we had instant chemistry because we shared a passion around diversity and inclusion. But more importantly, the unifier was a propensity towards action. What do you actually do? So we're both seeking ways to demonstrate those values with actions that make a difference. In other words, walking the talk. So thank you so much for joining me today, Shelly.
Oh gosh, thank you for that introduction. And yes, I think that call out to action. You know, how do we each in our spaces make a difference by what we do, in addition to what we believe and what we say? And that was a connection. I had actually right when I met Sylvia, I looked at a blog that she wrote, that you wrote, Sylvia, the diversity and inclusion, what does it really mean? And Sylvia called out that, yes, by all means, a diversity and inclusion team that actively spreads the word that company management cares about diversity is the start. But that's the start. And she pressed on and said, do employees see themselves reflected in the C-suite? And I quote her, no, they do not. The C-suite ivory tower remains overwhelmingly ivory white. And that was our kaboom connection, because just last June, with one of my executive clients, I had delivered a conference a session to attendees from more than 40 countries that was titled Toppling the Ivory Tower. And so this landing on the same semantics to connect our ideologies and call out a challenge to address was this instant synergy between us.
Yes, and that blog post actually spun from an event that I helped organize here in Hawaii. It was just a learning event about mobility, right? It was presented by the SHRM Hawaii Island Educational Foundation, and it started with an emphasis on how hiring people with disabilities, and led to a discussion about modeling diversity in the C-suite, and how training and coaching is one key to creating a successful diversity and inclusion program for a diverse and inclusive business. So I understand that you had launched a coaching program in partnership with a progressive thinking client. Can you share a little bit of background about how the coaching became the key to really making an impact?
Yeah, glad to do that. So, it was interesting because this is with, as you said, a progressive client that I was in, cadence with. We started regularly meeting outside of our coaching sessions with these ideation what if meetings, because again, we shared this idea of what could we do. He was active in community outreach programs that helped young people know about the possibilities of careers in technology, where he was and is an executive. And that opened doors of possibility. But he didn't want it to stop there. And he was intimately familiar with the empowerment that coaching offers, and what that can unleash. And so we were putting together ideas of what could we do in the organization that would allow coaching to touch lives across the organization, deeper, wider than would normally be accessed by the funding that is available for executive level coaching. So that's where that was the ideation. And then, yes, we did something about it with that propensity for action that you and I share.
So great concepts. What did you actually do?
Okay. I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. We started out with this great idea and took it to, and put the program together and, developed the ROI, developed the business case. And guess what? We failed. We didn't get it. So but did we stop? No. Then COVID turned everyone's world upside down. Literally, just, we all know that, right? And so we talked, and within days, we just said, we're going to do this. In April and May of 2020, we just rolled this thing out as a pro bono program for 2 months. Okay. The world was upside down. It was probably some degree of self-coping for me, truth be told. And people needed this, but we rolled out this program. The results were amazing. And, we put together the business case that we put together and showed from this. So it wasn't just an idea, but this is how it could work, is that a coach like myself could deliver coaching to 40, actually it was, I'm looking at the numbers. It was 20 individuals, for a cost that was a fraction of what the executive coaching would be. And did I deliver the coaching for, a lower rate? Yes, but we also set up systems that would just kind of keep, make it a well-oiled machine. And I dedicated 2 days a week to that. Now here's the really interesting part of how this worked. Why were we able to just roll it out like this? It wasn't a get approved, meet these qualifications, be selected for a program. First come, first serve. Okay, so we put out the registration link. Within minutes, the registrations were coming in. The way that the program is designed is that it's a 3-month, the way that we built it out, a 3-month program. And at the end of 3 months, you drop off the list and the waiting list fills. So this isn't a program that says, if you're a minority, if you're this gender, it just says, we're all equal. We're all included. If you want initiative, if you have initiative and you want some tools, sign up. Do it.
Yeah.
And it was 55% females and over 50% of different minorities that were in this group. And the experience was so powerful.
So, wow. So tell us, help me connect the dots. How did this make a difference? Like, what were some of the outcomes of what was learned?
So great. So coaching is at its core, and this is where, whatever level it's delivered, right? Coaching has quite often quite a bit to do about career pathing. Okay, so
hearing a lot about career pathing lately.
Right. There is a component of it that is ownership of personal brand, owning uniqueness, owning differences, not being pulled into the belief that to be a leader in this group, in this organization, I need to look like this and have these characteristics. But the true belief system internally that who I am, with polish, with continuous improvement, with confidence in how I use who I am and my style, is the key to being the best kind of leader that I can be. There is some recognition, oftentimes, of self-limiting belief systems. that comes from coaching. And then the acquisition of new skills that come from the confidence, from the learning, and that we work on, that I work on in session. Basics, as I say basics, but these can be really transformational. Own a meeting with your lead on a monthly basis that is dedicated to your career pathing, to your growth. What are the gaps? Where do I need to go? What do you are you in this partnership with your lead so that you are mapping the future and that you have your lead support on what you need to do to get there and what resources are available? So many resources are available in many organizations once there's communication and transparency, and that's being tapped into. What are paths to visibility? So many people believe that by doing their jobs and doing their jobs well, things will happen. That is part of it. There's more to it. And it doesn't have to be the seedy side of politicking, but there is some heads up influence. What are the appropriate ways for you and your team to be to get the visibility that is helpful and that will help everyone? So those types of things, it's not nothing that's rocket science. I'm sure as I'm saying these things, people are nodding and agreeing, and that makes sense. But to be able to have these empowering aha moments, and they can be aha moments with people who haven't thought this way before.
No, very, very powerful stuff. We are proponents of a continuous learning and process improvement. So that I think resonates, but I like what you said about the personal branding, right? So continuous improvement, learning, personal branding, owning it, right? Owning the differences, owning your strengths, your weaknesses, owning up. And the career pathing, the other word that's been thrown around a lot is upskilling. So you kind of touched on that, seeing what's possible with yourself as an individual and the organization as a whole, right, in development of its workforce, and the importance of visibility, of simply being seen. Working remotely, that can be a bit of a challenge. So I'm happy to have Zoom now. Everybody is all of a sudden on Zoom with the pandemic. So being seen, right? Being visible and recognized for your contributions. Funny, that should emerge on today's actually Employee Appreciation Day. So it's about the importance of recognition. Oh, you did not know that. Well, there you go.
Every day is Employee Appreciation.
Every day is Employee Appreciation Day. But no, these are all very, very powerful examples. So, so what is the call for action here? What challenges do you see, and what else can employers do about integrating coaching into that and fostering these activities to really make an impact and change the color and the gender of the C-suite so that it is more of a reflective representation of our society, right, and the workplace itself.
Right, and these were exactly the ideas that we were, discussing so early on, and then seeing these come to fruition. Hearing some powerful stories of the aha moments that some clients had. The call to action specifically. Listen, the horrific events surrounding George Floyd's death in May 2020 were a wake-up call to a lot of us that were sleeping. Okay. HR and has rolled out, has emphasized programs that were already rolled out around DEI a great deal. And that is so important. And I applaud that. That's what can we do in our spaces? They're doing that in their space. It's making a difference. There are some mentoring programs out there that are building connections, that are setting up coaching arrangements internally. Those are helpful. I applaud those. As I said, they can be selective. They can take some time. They can entail some bureaucracy. They work in lots of cases, but they don't necessarily have the equal of a possibility for everyone to enroll and be considered. So the call to action would be, think about this crazy radical thing that we unleashed. For, you know, the numbers can support, the numbers are there. There are coaches like me who will work at a lower rate to do this type of work. There are also a lot of really good coaches who who are newer in the business, who are very good coaches, but are launching, they're earlier in their careers, who offer quality encouragement work along these lines. There are ways, if companies are resourceful, to think about how programs like this can be launched. And so my call to action is just consider this, consider what is the possibility. And again, I've got stories, I can tell stories all day long about, you know, the lives that were touched, the things that people said, the differences that it made in their staying with the company. You know, there's retention, the future of the company. They're getting a promotion off cycle that they never dreamed possible because of stepping up. This is the reality. So that call to action is investigate, put some numbers together, see what resources are there. Consider external, just because, and there is something to be said for, and whether it is perception or reality, the way people relate to an external coach, there's more perceived safety.
Yes, I'm glad you touched on the idea of safety too, because that dovetails into a lot of what we were talking about. Creating an inclusive environment is creating a safe environment. And I think bringing in an outside perspective, right, who's not coming into the organization with an agenda, doesn't know anybody or have a particular relationship with the participants, right? That neutrality, if you will, and that fresh perspective can make a difference, right? Can help people see things that they wouldn't accept if it had come from their boss or a colleague or someone else on their team. Good thoughts. Well, thank you so much. I think this has been very informative, and the bias towards action. I use the word bias, but do appreciate you sharing these perspectives in a good way. But do really appreciate you sharing your thoughts in this video series with the HR community and recruiters on how to create a diverse, inclusive, and belonging is another word that's been coming out. Like, people want to belong. We all want to belong in our families, in our communities, and in our workspaces.
Right. And Sylvia, I really love what your company is doing to help companies get access to the talent. And then this is, you're doing what you can do best in your space. Thanks. And I'm doing this little thing in my space. So, well,
it's about going beyond what's expected, right? And that's like not thinking outside the box. It's such a cliche, okay, but it's just going beyond what you're supposed to do, right? To do the right thing and to take it to that next level. I like how you said it's seeing what is possible, right?
Right. And I know you know this, but it's sometimes you do things because it's the right thing to do. And then, not a little down the line, you wake up and say, oh my goodness, there was so much benefit, so much learning in that for me.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I guess we'll just call that karma.
All righty. Well, you have a wonderful day. It has been a great pleasure talking to you, and keep on coaching.
Sylvia, you keep on. Okay?
Keeping on.
Okay, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.